Hey gang, Dr. Bruce here. Tip number 13, so it's got to be a good one. In fact, I'm going to use this tip 13 to kind of take a rest from just giving more and more information and talk about mindset. Because mindset's where it all begins. And I remember back when I was coming up and I was really enjoying my practice for a while, but I got to the point that I started feeling like I was on a treadmill. Now, this doesn't sound very positive, but I think it's important sometimes to realize reality. There's some truth to a lot of things, but the one thing that I know for sure was, I was getting to be on a treadmill. I was seeing, all I cared about was getting my practice bigger every week, bigger every week, bigger every week. And one week I hit my biggest goal ever, and I should have been ecstatic about it, and I was for about an hour, and then I started kind of getting like a little bit worried because it was such a milestone for me that I didn't know if I could beat it the next week. And I started doubting myself. And again, I don't just teach hype. I teach reality and truth. And I think that if you understand sometimes that people are human, even those that seem like they got it all together, at times they don't. This week, one of our top football stars in San Diego, Junior Seau, committed suicide. Now, here's a guy who had everything. He was loved. He was, he could do anything he wanted. He had celebrity in San Diego. He appeared like things were wonderful, but something wasn't really going on well. I guess he took his own life. So at times, even when things look good, sometimes there's some challenges. But anyway, back to my point. So for me, I really did kind of hit a slump, and I got a little bit negative because I hit a milestone, and then my total focus went to worrying about could I do it again. And the next week I did not. And the reason why is because I focused on not making it, and that's exactly what I got. So I got to prove to myself how powerful I actually was. But at that moment, I started questioning everything. I started questioning, why was I doing practice? Was it just to always have bigger numbers every week? I mean, what was it all about? It's one of those days that, is this all there is? Type of a phenomenal thing that I had. And I decided, you know what? I want to basically be free in practice. I want to have more freedom. I don't want to feel like I'm always tied down to having to always be here to make things bigger and bigger, but I want to create a real business where I can make chiropractic, a beacon of health in our community. I can make my office, shine more if it's just not all reliant on me. And that's when I began in my mind to create what I call the practice freedom model. So in doing so, I'm going to break that down here on this trip here, talking about the practice freedom model. And again, look at it and see if it resonates with you. So first of all, the chiropractic story, it's proven. At one time, we used to have to sit there and convince people that, about chiropractic and also how it may or may not work. It works. The jury's in, there's no question. I can give you literally probably millions of stories, about chiropractic, what we call miracles. So we need to start telling that story. And as you tell the story, the public perception of health will be understood that it's wrong. They will realize that the idea of health is based on a person's symptoms or absence thereof is totally wrong. So we can't allow the ill-informed to hold us back by a proper understanding and judgment of chiropractic. They're basically putting their belief systems on you sometimes, and rather than us enforcing that story. So the story is everything. And the chiropractic story isn't a fable. It's true. And once we start telling that story, we can begin influencing the public perception of your community to an understanding. And in doing so, instead of making your practice, or let's say Bruce Parker, making it all about me, we make it all about chiropractic. And when I did that, I was able to actually bring in employee doctors to work in our clinic, and it wasn't individualized. It was basically one big clinic, and we all worked there. And they got salaries, and they got a profit sharing and joined in the clinic like most big groups are. And it became a wonderful thing. And by doing that, I began to actually grow my practice without having to be there as much, have as much more freedom in my life, and actually have more fun. So the practice freedom model is this. It's free to do as you please in practice based on your understanding of healthcare, not trying to fit into another person's model. One thing that drove me crazy was being told by insurance companies how I had to practice. And I didn't want to do that. There's things that I didn't understand it. As an example, the first thing that really flipped me out was pay per visit. I said, chiropractic is not a pay per visit model. Where did this come from? Well, it came from a medical model. You go in there for a treatment, you pay your fee, and you leave. That's because medicine's a treatment. The chiropractic is a process. Chiropractic lifestyle is a process. Just like going to a gym. Can you imagine going to a gym and you walk in, they analyze you, okay, what are you here for? Well, I want bigger biceps and a tighter tummy. They go, okay, that's 16 visits and that'll be $50 a visit. It's not going to happen. They might say, well, good, just start working on it. Here's the exercise, just do them. The more intense you do them, the faster you get the results. But they can't tell you how many visits it is. We can't describe how many visits it is to restore normal function to our body. And so in doing that, I didn't like that anymore. So I decided to be way more free and practice as I would love to practice. I wanted to reject a patient. There's times people want to walk through the door, and in the back of my mind always told me, I need new patients. So no matter who came in, I took them. And I used to sit there and say, I didn't want these patients. Well, one day, this woman was in the back room, and she's giving me all this guff. She's saying, doctor, the other day my right shoulder hurt. Well, now my left shoulder hurts. What are you going to do? And I said, man, you don't understand. You don't get it. And I escorted her out. I said, you know what? You need to find another doctor. You're not listening to me. You're not understanding. I don't want to see you anymore. And I marched her out at the front desk. I said, Barbara, clear her account. She owes us nothing, and she does not need to come back. And I pushed her out the front door. I didn't push her, but I just escorted her out the front door. And then I turned, and my waiting room was full. And they kind of all looked at me, and I turned around. Does anybody else want to not follow my instructions? They go, oh, no, doc. I was just in that zone for a moment. But that was a day. It was a tipping point in my life, that I felt free. And believe me, I always want to build my practice. And we believe the way to build a practice is to kind of, kowtow to everybody. The Nordstrom's philosophy, the customer's always right. Well, that's not true. They're not right. They're coming to us for advice on how to have health. And we can't give them health when they're telling us how to give it to them. We can't give them health when they tell us when they're going to come in, when they're not going to come in. We cannot be in charge of them getting better when they're in charge of how they're going to get better. Make sense? And then free to ask for the fee you feel you deserve for the valuable service you provide. The only reason you have to sit there and charge a certain fee is because if you're doing insurance, there's all this stuff. But if you want to charge less fees or higher fees or whatever, you're free to do that when you're in a practice freedom model. And I love that because I have not had any problems with insurance, any types of lawsuits in my life because I just basically bill the insurance, and we take what they pay us, but we give our recommendations to our patients, and our fees are our fees. If I give a recommendation that's $3,000, an insurance company kicks in $1,200, they pay us the difference. It's a $3,000 program or $2,000, whatever your program might be. That's our fee. And we don't have to sit there and play games. We don't have to sit there and write a lot of letters. We show them we do take notes because you have to by law, even if you're cash practice. But our notes specifically talk about chiropractic adjustments, not medical treatment. Taking a vacation with your family is something that we don't do enough of. Why go through, we are chiropractors and there's a certain level of martyrism in our profession that we think we can't do anything, that we owe everything to our public. I actually had a client a long time ago quit me, which I couldn't believe it. I had never had anybody quit before. And she quit. And the reason why she quit, she goes, listen, doc, I appreciate where you're coming from, but you keep telling me I've got to charge my patients. And I said, yes, I do, because if you don't charge, there's no exchange. And in this situation, this person was seeing about 165 patients a week, what should have been an okay income in California. And she had to borrow money every month from her husband to pay her rent at her office because most people didn't pay because she didn't have to. And she said, "It is my moral and ethical obligation to adjust someone every week for the rest of their life." And I said, where'd that come from? I believe and I give to my patients 120%, believe me. But they returned by paying me 100%. Now, this idea, we have a confusion about money in our profession. It's okay to charge. It's okay because when you charge, it's an exchange. You see, money is just an idea anyway. Money doesn't have any value anymore. It's just an idea backed by confidence. When someone gives you $100, they're saying that was $100 of service. And we have basically levels of value that we put on $100 or $1,000 or $2,000 or $50. So when you go in there and give someone an adjustment and ask for $50, they said, well, I'm not paying for that. My insurance will cover it. If my insurance doesn't cover it, I'm out of here. What are they telling you? They're telling you they don't value what you do. Now, maybe it's your fault they don't value. Maybe it's your fault because you never gave them an understanding or you never gave them the reasons why they should value what you do. You just told them, come in and bring your insurance, coverage, and as long as it's good, you just send it in, we'll keep treating you. And that's why so many people have gotten to massage now, because people think that, well, do you have a massage? Massage is great, and if my insurance will cover it, I'll come into your office. Again, they're wanting treatment without paying. And what's the value for them? Do they really understand and do they really value it? No. So in my Practice Freedom model, it says free to live your entire life in the lifestyle you desire and never worry about money. And back to the top again, take a vacation with your family, knowing your clinic's open and working on autopilot. How would that be? How would your life be if you could, let's say, work hard for 3 months and take a week off, take your entire family and go somewhere, and not worry about your practice being gone when you come back? Not worrying about no one being there while you're gone, no one coming in, and you're losing all the income for that week, plus losing the income that you're spending on your vacation. And the reason why most vacations for most people in practice are that way, that they lose money from practice when they're gone, and then plus what they spend, it's too expensive to take one, so they don't take one. And I'm telling you what, if you don't refresh your mind, you get stale. You got to have time for yourself. You dedicated your life to your community, and that's great. But your job is to dedicate your life to yourself and to your family. If you can't take care of you, if you're not happy and making yourself happy, you can't make your family happy. And if you can't make your family happy, you're not going to be happy in your business, and it goes down the road. I believe taking care of number one, it's important. Well, my tip today is look how you can have more freedom in your life. That doesn't mean laziness. That means working your business well enough that it affords you more freedom as you are giving more service to your community. It's a great deal. I'll see you on the next go around.